and ministers and every kingdom citizen we have here, every member of the family. I say good evening to you. Welcome. How you all doing? How are you? How was your day? I hope it was. I hope it was good. We had a very what's the word? What's the adjective I can use to describe our day? Hectic day. Yeah. We were out and about, and now we're here to share with you. And I want to continue. Can I just take up from where we left off the last time? It's been a while now. It's about 2 weeks where we will continue on what I have been sharing with you, and we've been talking about leadership. Yes, leadership, and leadership is so important. It is so important. It is so important, and you see it playing out even in the world right now, where in some countries, some leaderships are being dethroned. Some leaders have to run for their lives. Some leaders are being placed under arrest. Some leaders, there are warrants out for them because of the decisions that they've made and the state they've had to place. And so leadership is so important. We need to understand leadership. Everything rises and falls on leadership, says John Maxwell. And I agree with him. So it's important for us to know about being a leader because we are all placed in that position at one time or the other. And it's also important to know so that we would know what we should expect from our leaders. And we have been looking at the word leaders as an acronym. I love acronyms. I love to use it. Very easy to remember when we use acronyms. I did a lot of that when I was studying. And we said Leaders. I was never very good at spelling. I'm very good at grammar, but spelling sometimes gets me. But I think I have Leaders correct. And we have looked at LEA and we are in D. And just to refresh your memory a little bit, we said a leader ought to be durable, and something durable is something that is strong and lasts, and it doesn't break or become weak. Durable, and leaders have to be durable. They have to be able to take a licking and keep on ticking. They have to be strong-willed. They have to be people who they're not easily provoked. They have to go through the fire and come out as a leader. We also saw that a leader is supposed to be disciplined. And discipline, we talked about discipline. Discipline is not licks. Discipline is not will. Discipline is training. That's what discipline is. Sometimes the training has to do with licks or punishment, but the discipline itself is training. Training that corrects you and molds you and perfects you. And whether it's physical or mental or spiritual. We looked at determination. And that's the quality that you show when you've decided that you're going to do something and you will not let anybody or anything stop you. That's determination. And a leader must have determination. He must be determined to lead. He must be determined to complete whatever assignment that he or she has been given. And then we looked at dedication. Dedication means to be committed or devoted to something. You cannot be successful if you're not committed to a cause. You're not committed to the thing. You're not committed to the person. You cannot be a successful believer if you're not committed to God. And as a leader, you cannot be a leader. You cannot be a successful leader if you're not committed to God, you're not committed to the people, you're not committed to your assignment, and you're not committed to doing a good job. So dedication is important. We also saw that a leader ought to be daring, adventurous and audacious and bold. We saw that a leader is supposed to be driven, all these D's, driven, self-motivated, doesn't need to be pushed. The first one to say, I will walk on water. Jesus said, I come out of the boat and walk on the water. He's supposed to be adventurous and self-motivated. And listen, the thing about a leader is sometimes he has to do it all by himself. That's why they say it's lonely at the top. Because when everybody else is doing it, hope you are driven, you're self-motivated, and you don't need to be pushed. And then we saw a leader ought to be diligent, hardworking. He works hard. He works smart too, but you have to be able to work hard. And a leader must not procrastinate, waste time. So these are some of the things we looked at when we looked at leadership. And just to close off the D's, a leader ought to be discerning. And you know what is discerning? He must be able to spot things and people that are taking place, or spot things that are taking place among the people, and spot the people that, they come in here to cause trouble. We talk about discernment already, spirit of discernment. A leader is supposed to have that. As a leader, you must know the troublemakers. As a leader, you must know the ones who are genuine. You must have a discerning spirit. A leader is supposed to be a defender. Another D. He defends those that follow. He doesn't throw them under the bus. He doesn't leave them. David, we know, defended his father's sheep from a lion and a bear. And that's what a leader is supposed to do. Because Paul himself said that in the last days there'll be people who come in like ravenous wolves in sheep clothing, and it is up to the leader to defend them. In fact, Paul wrote to Timothy and he was telling him that. He said, you gotta keep the faith, and you gotta make full proof of your ministry, and you gotta defend the people. Because some of the sheep that you have there, they look like sheep, but they're not sheep. They're in disguise. So a leader is supposed to spot the disguise as another D. A leader is supposed to be a director. He must be able to direct things. You know what's a director? Someone who's in charge, someone who gives instruction, someone who is able to point you in the right direction. That's what a leader is supposed to be able to do. A leader is supposed to demonstrate what to do. Not just tell people do this and do that. A leader must be able to demonstrate. Not just do as I say, but do as I do. Follow me as I follow Christ. You want to know what a man of God is? Look at me. That's what a leader is supposed to be saying. He's supposed to be demonstrating the characteristics of the Spirit of God. That's what a leader is supposed to do. And so a leader, and in order to demonstrate, you have to be out front so people can see you. You must be in a position where people can see you. And I keep telling you, and I'll say it again, that when Jesus said, follow me, he didn't just mean walk behind me. He said, do as I do. And that's what a leader is supposed to be telling people. This is how to do it. Jesus came to show us how to live. He demonstrated what it is to live a life that is sinless. And that's what a leader is supposed to do, to demonstrate. A leader is supposed to know, and this is important, that sometimes, hear this, sometimes a leader is supposed to be a dictator. There are times when he has to be demanding. Because if you don't do that, some people would not get the job done, you will not get the task done. Sometimes you have to be a dictator. You have to dictate to people. You have to demand from people things. And a dictator sometimes has to stand alone, and that's the thing about leadership. Sometimes, depends on the circumstance, you have to be a dictator. And other times, a leader is supposed to be democratic. That is, include the people, have discussion with them. Come, let us reason together. So he has to know when to be a dictator, and he has to know when to be democratic. Ask questions or answer questions. What you all think? Anybody has any ideas? That's democratic. And sometimes he has to say, listen, this is what we're going to do. Especially if God gives you a command, you can't go and ask people what they think. You have to do it. And that's dictating what people are supposed to do. Sometimes a leader is supposed to be a daddy. Yeah, not just a father. but a daddy. And a father and a daddy is really different. Eh? You could father a child, but being a daddy means you're there, you're nurturing, you're present. Have to be a daddy. And then at times the leader has to know how to detach himself, how to pull away because it's necessary to exercise tough love. That's all that is in leadership. And I want to tell you something. It's not easy being a leader. And that's why some people run away from it. Oh, not me, not me. I ran away from it for a long time. I didn't want to lead. Especially I didn't want to be a pastor. I said it openly. I do not want to be a pastor. I said that for years until God arrested me and said, this is what I want you to do. But you can't run from your calling. You're going to end up like Jonah in a place where you don't want to be. So leadership is not easy, but it's achievable. It can be done. The final D that I want to, and there are many more, many others, but the final D I want to present to you tonight is that a leader is supposed to be, in my opinion, down to earth. We have too many leaders who exalt themselves. We have too many leaders who feel they're better than everybody else. There are too many leaders. You want to talk to a leader and you have to make an appointment for the next few months. They don't talk to you. They will talk to their associates and the people around them and their aides and their people. Aides, you know what I mean by aides, right? What do we call it? The adjutants, we call them well, that's what the American call them. The adjutants. Those who help them carry their Bibles and that kind of thing. I don't know. I can't have people doing that for me. Eh? I'm telling you. That's why I try to be down to earth. I cannot have people walking behind me and running behind me. I ain't that special to have bodyguards like that. The Lord will protect me. As a leader, you need to be down to earth. John Maxwell said, as a leader, sometimes you have to come off the mountain and go down in the valley and where the people are at and see what's going on. Find out how they're going. I'm not saying that you have to be lineman with everybody and no, that's not what I'm saying. For those of you who are listening outside of Trinidad and Tobago, line means to hang out with. You don't have to be hanging out. I mean, yes, you can hang out with them, but this should not be a regular practice where the people that I lead, we go and have a good time and get to know one another. No, that there are occasions for that. But you have to be down to it. You have to be able to speak to them at their level. They must know that you are human too. That is why First Lady and I, we share the things that happen to us. We share our weaknesses as well. I have told you some things that I've done that I wish I didn't do. I'm a human being just like you. You have to be down to earth. You know, when it was a Peter, I can't remember who it was, and the man came and bowed down to him, and Peter said, no, get up, get up, get up. We are men like you. We are mere men, but there are some leaders, apparently they don't feel they're mere men. They feel they're more than that. But a leader is supposed to be down to earth, have his feet planted firmly. And remember when I say his, I mean him, he and she, because leaders are both male and female. Have your feet firmly planted on the ground. Don't have your head in the clouds. Here is where you are at, on the earth. Be down to earth. So these are some of the D's. These are some of the D's that a leader is supposed to be and supposed to do. There's one other set of D's I want to share with you. See how far we can get tonight. It's something we've done before, But I think it's important that we do it again. And it's just about a year ago. So those of you who came in within the last year would not have been privy to this. And some of you who were there before, we went through this already, but it's important because we're talking about this now in the context of leadership. And we are talking about, in fact, let me just read 2 Corinthians chapter 2, verses 9 to 11. I know, well, I gave Joshua the verses and I trust that you would have put them in the chat. Joshua, did you put the verses in the chat?
Yes, Dr. Richard, in the chat.
Okay, so 2 Corinthians chapter 2, verses 9 through 11. Now we're talking about this in the context of leadership now. Who's reading that one?
All right, I'll read it, Dr. Richard, since it wasn't taken yet. All right, 2 Corinthians 2, 9 to 11, it says, For to this end, I also wrote, that I might put you to the test, whether you are obedient in all things. Now, whom you forgive anything, I also forgive. For if indeed I have forgiven anything, I have forgiven that one of your sakes in the presence of Christ, lest Satan should take advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices.
Okay, so it reads, I have forgiven that one for your sakes in the presence of Christ, lest Satan should take advantage of us. And this is the important part. For we are not ignorant of his devices. What does that mean? What does that mean that we are not ignorant of his devices? Could somebody tell me, what does it mean when it says that we are not ignorant of his devices? It's about time. You haven't spoken to me for a long time. I'm feeling lonely. I feel like I'm talking to myself. So talk to me tonight. What does it mean that we are not ignorant of his devices?
Sister Bernadette, her hand is up.
Sister Bernadette.
Good night. What I got from that is that we ought to have discernment and recognize the schemes that he come with.
Mm-hmm. That we ought to have discernment and recognize the schemes that he come with. Thank you. Anybody else?
Elder Sheldon, hand is up, Doc.
Elder Sheldon.
That we are not unaware of his schemes.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Thank you, Elder Sheldon. One more person. Anybody else would like to add, take away, multiply, divide, find the square root of, the cube root, anything?
There's a comment in the chat. We know his tricks.
Okay, thank you. And that's basically what it says. You all are correct. That we are not unaware, that we know his tricks, that we are discerning. We know the devil has no new devices. And the thing is, if we would only stop and consider, we will recognize it because we know he does different things in different ways, but we know that he cannot disguise himself in such a way that we would not know that it's him. Paul says we are not ignorant. Ignorant doesn't mean what we say in Trinidad. Ignorant means you have an attempt, but ignorant means lacking knowledge. We know of his devices. And it says, before that, lest Satan should take advantage of us. We know Satan can't take advantage of us because we know of his devices. So let's look at some of his devices. The first device that we're going to look at is this device, and we're saying devices. So again, we're talking about leadership and we're talking about D. The first device is doubt. Is doubt. To lack confidence or to be uncertain. when you doubt yourself, lack of belief in yourself, that you can do something, that you can accomplish something. When you doubt, you're saying, I don't know. I'm not sure if I can do this. I'm not sure if I could be a Christian. You know, it's like me when I was saying, at first I was saying I didn't want to be a pastor. And even when I started, I wasn't sure if I could be. And there's this uncertainty. And this is what the devil tries to get us. He tries to get us to be unsure, not knowing whether to go right or left, up or down. When you doubt, you hesitate. You hesitate, and sometimes hesitation, 1 second hesitation could cause you problems. You're going to cross the road and you're going across the road and a car coming and you don't have to go to stop and you're free sometimes because of doubt. You doubt yourself. How would you feel? I don't know. I don't know. You know, I was just thinking about it. How would you feel if you're going to travel to Tobago, or you're traveling to the States, or you're coming from the States to Trinidad, and the captain starts to speak over the intercom, whatever they call it, and he says, folks, you know, your flight is going to take X amount of time. But we are going to run into some turbulence on the way. And folks, I'm not sure if we're going to be able to make it through the turbulence. My question is, are you staying on that plane? And I'm talking about before the plane take off. Are you going to stay? If the captain isn't sure, if he has doubt, would you stay on that plane? People who doubt does not inspire. They do not inspire confidence. And this is what Satan wants. And if a leader is doubtful, what do you expect of the people that he leads? If a leader says, I don't know if we can do this, what do you expect of the people? Because remember, a leader is supposed to demonstrate, we just said that. It's do as I do, not just do as I say. So if the leader is expressing doubt, what do you expect for the people? Doubt is like when an earthquake comes and the place begins to shake and you don't know what to do. You don't have to run outside. You have to run under the bed. You have to run under the table. And they say to duck cover and roll. But even that going out of your head because you don't know. You're uncertain because the place is shaking and it creates instability and you just don't know what to do. That's doubt. That's what doubt does. And that's a trick of the enemy. That's a device of the enemy. Could you imagine you're in a place and it's crowded and somebody said there's a bomb in here. And everybody's scattering and a man and somebody said, listen, I could do this. I could disarm the bomb, but I needed to help me. All right, and you say, okay, you sure you know what you're doing? But I think I can do it, you know. I'm not too sure, but I feel I can do it. When he turns around, will he find you there? That's doubt. Doubt doesn't inspire confidence at all. When you doubt, people cannot believe in you. They cannot follow you as a leader. And the enemy's device is to cause you to doubt. He poses questions in your mind to make you doubt. He went to Eve and he says, did God really say that? He comes to us with the same thing. That's why we're not ignorant of his devices. Did God really say that, boy? Did God really tell you that you're supposed to be part of this ministry? Did God really tell you that you were supposed to fast and pray? Did God really say that to you? Or do you think you're ready to share the word? I know some of the elders might have been asking themselves that question. He wants you to doubt. And if they had doubted and not followed through, look at the word that came forth during these 3 days. Look at the powerful ministry from every single person that God just downloaded into them to disseminate among the family. If we had doubted, we would not have been able to speak with that confidence. Doubt, that's what the enemy does. He wants you to doubt. The Lord said to you, you see that person on the maxi there, you're going on the road this morning? Just tell him Jesus love. Just say good morning. And you start to wonder, you hear the voice in the head, me boy, that person might embarrass me. What if they cuss me? What if they, and what if they, and what if they, and you start to doubt. And you jump off the maxi at the designated point and you ain't say a word. You have not yet said a word to the person because you doubt. You're wondering how they're going to respond. You don't know if it's God really talking to you. Doubt does that. And one of the greatest fears people have is public speaking. They're afraid, when it's on a stage or even on a platform like this. They doubt. Let me confess something to you. One of my, I think before, one of the things First Lady was asking at some point in time, what you were fearful about. What was some of the things? And I was trying to go back in my mind to see, what was I fearful? Was there anything that I was fearful about? And I remember something, and it wasn't fear. It was doubt. And let me tell you what it is, because I don't think I've ever told you. I don't think I've ever even told First Lady, but it just came back to me. I remember when this ministry started, I was okay because, you know, I'm accustomed to ministering. I've been a pastor for a long time, and I know God has called me to teach, and you know, that was good. But when we opened it up and we went live on YouTube, I started to doubt myself. Do you really have what it takes, boy? Because you're not just ministering to these people here, you know, it's people around the globe who are listening to you. And I had this sense of doubt in myself as to whether God has really called me to that, as to whether I really have what it takes to minister. Because I look at people like T.D. Jakes and my mentor Miles Monroe and you know these guys, and it's so easy to them, and they're confident. They speak to leaders, world leaders, and they have that confidence. And here I am in my congregation, in my church where I used to go, and other places they call me to minister. Yeah, but when they see we opened it up to YouTube, I had my doubts. I started to wonder, oh, is God really using me? Boy, suppose I say the wrong thing, suppose I teach the wrong thing. All these thoughts went through my head. And I recognize it's the enemy. God spoke to me. And I tell you something, here's one of the ways he spoke to me. In fact, the way he spoke to me. I think First Lady was so excited about going on YouTube. And she wanted to put it out there. And I'm saying, but why am I doubting? It is not even bothering First Lady, and I am doubting. Is it because I'm thinking too much of myself, or too little of myself, or too something of myself? And the Lord says to me, listen, this is what I call you to do. You just do it. Don't doubt me. Don't doubt that I can use you to minister to anybody, any part of the globe. And somewhere, sometime, I don't know if it was in an instant or if it was over a period of time, that doubt just left me. Now I'm glad and I'm comfortable sharing with you wherever you are on the globe, because I know that what I say is not from me. Maybe that's why I doubted, because I was wondering if it was from me. I know what I say now is from God. And so I speak with confidence. But doubt is something that can cause you to quit. Doubt is something that could, I told you the story already about me in Bible school. When I started Bible school, when I started to do my bachelor's, I wanted to quit because I had not been to school for a long while, and I've studied all my life, right? I've gone to many different schools. I've done accounting, I have qualifications in accounting, qualifications in management. I studied. But I didn't study for a little while, and when I went back to Bible school, when I started Bible school, I could, the first week, when I see the amount of assignments that we had to do, and I was working in the day, and then going to class in the evening, and then you had to do assignments and all that, I wanted to quit. I doubted that I could make it. And I told him, my wife came and encouraged me, just one hand on my shoulder, said you couldn't do it. And that was it. Doubt makes you quit. It makes you turn back. As a leader, you cannot doubt, because if you turn back, everybody turning back too. When I moved on to the other level and I was doing my master's and I was doing Greek, Greek was like Greek. I couldn't understand it. It didn't make any sense. And I started to doubt again. I didn't think I would ever get through it. And what made it worse is that the class, which has 20-something or 30-something people, boiled down to 4 of us. Was it 4 or 3? 4, I think. So people were quitting because it was hard, it was difficult. And what made it even more difficult is that at that level, our lecturers were not the ordinary lecturers. They were the people, you see the textbooks that we were using, they were those who wrote the textbooks, and they were from different countries, and they would come down. I mean, if it was now, I guess we would have done it via Zoom. But they flew them into the country. And that wasn't the problem, that wasn't the issue, The issue was that when they came, we didn't have class right through at the master's level. We had an intensive, I think it's 2 or 4 weeks, where each one came in for 1 week. And what happened is that we were supposed to present a paper, write a paper on a subject the day before the lecture. So let's say he's coming to talk about milk on Monday. Sunday night, all of us are supposed to write a paper on milk. And then on Monday, he lectures on milk. And when he's lecturing and you thinking about what I wrote, what I wrote, and what he's talking about is like 2 different things. It makes you want to quit. So we didn't get the lesson and get the test. We got the test before the lesson. And that's how it was. And I started to doubt again, and doubt, and doubt, and doubt. And here's what happened. I had a cynicism God. At one of our sessions, one of our classes, I had the audacity to question a lecturer, to disagree with him. And he put me down. Nice, and he didn't shout at me or anything. And that made me want to quit again. But God encouraged me. And then one day, we were, the 4 of us that were left, we were there and we were studying because we had some assignments to do and we didn't know what to do, how to do it. We were there and we were working together, we working in the night, and we were trying them all, how we tried, we couldn't do it. And folks, I kid you not, I'll tell you this, and this is true, this is true. One day, while we were doing all that and we were trying to, feed off each other and help encourage one another, I found a flash drive. I don't know where it came from. I found it in some old thing. I found a flash drive. Now, when you get flash drive, you're not supposed to put it in your thing just like that. And we could have, these things could have viruses. But I found the flash drive, and when I stuck it in, everything came up. What we were trying to work out is as though you Google something and you have all the information. It was there on the flash drive. Like somebody who would have gone through this before and had done it, and it was there. To this day, folks, I cannot explain to you. I didn't find the flash drive in school, in class, I don't remember where I found it. I think I found it at work, and nobody at work was studying, was in Bible school, and I just happened to, and I had the flash drive there for a while, and then one day I just put the flash drive in, and I saw this thing come up, and I was like, my God. And of course I shared it with everybody, and we used it. It just brought clarity. Everything that we were doubtful about, it was there. I kid you not, it was there. And I said, God, you're something else. And my doubt went. I'm saying to you, I'm not saying that God is going to dispel your doubt the way he did me and give me the answers. I don't know how he's going to do it for you. But I want you to understand, you've got to trust God. And as a leader, sometimes you find yourself in a situation where you don't know what to do, what decision to make. You're doubting, you say you're going to do this, and then you say, no, I'm not going to do that. This is not the way to do it. I should do this and I should do that. And you're unstable. Doubt is a trick of the enemy. Go before your God. God brings clarity. He gives grace. He gives answers. And I'll tell you something. The enemy, when he calls you to doubt God, you are actually saying to God, God, I ain't too sure you're God, I ain't too sure you can work it out. Huh? If we had doubted God, this ministry would not have been in existence today. But we didn't doubt him. The purpose of doubt is to have you shaky, going from side to side. What did James say? James chapter 1, verses 6 to 8. James chapter 1. Read that for me, please.
Good evening, everyone. James chapter 1, verses 6. But let him ask in faith, with no doubting. For he who doubts is like a wave of the sea, driven and tossed by the wind. For let not that man suppose that he will receive anything from the Lord. He is a double-minded man, unstable in all his ways.
Thank you. You're supposed to have one mind, not double-minded. One mind. Leadership. When you are leading people, you should have one mind. When you doubt, it's like going backwards. When you doubt, it causes you to waste time. You go into the exam room, you sit down to write the paper, and you don't know if that's the answer, you're not too sure, and by the time you finish, you're supposed to answer 5 questions, you answer 1.5. No. Doubt causes you to waste time. Sometimes important decisions have to be made as a leader, and because you're doubting, these chances go a-begging. As a leader, you have to inspire confidence. What if you're going for an operation or surgery, and you ask the doctor, "Doctor, what's my chances of making it?" And say, "Well, I'm not too sure, How would you feel? There's a saying, doubting your chances before you are done may cost you the race that you might have won. If a doctor prescribes a medication for you, and you go by the pharmacist and they say, listen, is this thing safe? Boy, doctor prescribed it for me, and say, well, yeah, 50-50. I'm too sure, maybe. How would you feel? You want people that you look up to and that you depend on to have confidence. As a leader, that's who you're supposed to be. And I want to say to you, sometimes the best of us have doubt. Sometimes the best of us, we have that moment of doubt. Let's read about one such person quickly. Luke chapter 7, verses 20 to 23. Luke 7, 20 to 23. Do we have that? Joshua?
Elder Sherry?
Okay, maybe she's unable to read
I'll
it.
read it.
Read it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll read it for you, Dr. Richards. Luke chapter 7, verses 20
To 23.
And it says, when the men had come to him, they said, John the Baptist has sent us to you, saying, are you the coming one, or do we look for another? And that very hour he cured many of infirmities, afflictions, and evil spirits, and to many blind he gave sight. Jesus answered and said to them, go and tell John the things you have seen and heard, that the blind see, the lame walk, the lepers are cleansed, the deaf hear, the dead are raised, the poor have the gospel preached to them. And blessed is he who is not offended because of me.
Thank you. John the Baptist. Jesus says that there was no prophet like John the Baptist. John, when he saw Jesus coming, he said, behold the Lamb of God that take away the sins of the world. He said, I'm not worthy to baptize you, Jesus. This same John who was baptizing people and preaching and thinking describing the Pharisees, pulling them, rebuking them. He started to doubt. He said to his disciples, are you the one? Sometimes the best of us have doubt, but I'll tell you something as a leader. One, if people have doubt and they come to you, don't say to them, you're not supposed to doubt. Don't say to them, what kind of, you haven't I been teaching you all the time? Jesus didn't rebuke John. Jesus said, go and tell John what you see. That will restore his faith. Sometimes you have to encourage people who have doubt. You have to let them know, hey, listen, it's okay to have your doubt, but don't stay in that position of doubt. You got to believe. You got to strengthen people, because everybody at one time or the other, something happens and they listen to the voices in their head and they start to doubt who they are. And they start to doubt, this whole life. I am sure you have experienced that. When you come to a place and you wonder if this Christianity thing is really real, boy. I wonder if it really have a God out there. I'm ready, and I wonder, and I wonder, and I wonder. And we come to that place, and that voice in our head, but recognize that's the enemy. You know, they say, this is what the experts say, that one of the things that successful athletes like Muhammad Ali and Mike Tyson, Brian Lara, and Usain Bolt, one of them, what the common thing that they had is that they believed in themselves. They never doubted themselves. They always knew that they had the ability, and they pushed. A lady by the name of Rosalind Carter said, if you doubt you can accomplish something, you won't be able to accomplish it. You must have confidence in your ability and then be tough enough to follow through. In other words, if you say, I can't do that, guess what? You won't be able to do it. A leader must inspire his followers with confidence. There's no room for doubt. Philippians 4:13, what does that say? Somebody has that. We're wrong enough. We're close enough. Philippians 4:13.
Good night. Philippians 4:13 says, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me.
Thank you. Thank you. That's a declaration that removes doubt. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Christ strengthens you, and because he strengthens you, you have the ability to do whatever it is he has called you to do. Don't doubt. Whatever it is, Don't compare yourself. First lady was saying tonight, be the best you. Don't try to be me. There's no vacancy here. I'm the only me that God created. You're the only you that God wants to be. Don't be, listen, if you are like, want to be like somebody else, if you're trying to be somebody else, then you'll always be second. But if you try to be yourself, you'll always be first. Don't doubt who you are. Don't doubt what God has called you to do. Don't doubt. That's what the enemy wants. Don't doubt that God can use you. Do not doubt. And the Bible says, without faith it is impossible to please God. When you doubt, you cannot have faith. Faith and doubt cannot exist in the same space. Don't doubt God. Know what God said and quote it like Jesus when the devil tried to create doubt in your mind. We can feed our faith and starve our doubts to death. Don't doubt God. Doubting is going to make you lose. Doubting is going to make you wobble. Doubting is going to make you stay where you are and not progress. Doubting is going to make you moonwalk like Michael Jackson. You're walking, but you're going backwards. That's what doubt does. Know what God says. So when he comes with that foolishness like Eve did, God really say that? You need to know what God says. You need to know what God said. And if you know what God says, you would not doubt. That's a device of the devil. Are you hearing me? I want to pause. Any questions? Any comments? I want you all to talk to me. As a leader, you have no room for doubt. As a leader, if you doubt, you shake the very foundation of what you're doing, and the people will be shaken. Don't doubt. Even when you're leading them and you see just the sea in front of you and the army behind you, don't doubt. When you go and to spy out the land and you see these men, they tall like giants, and you are small, don't doubt. Do not doubt. Doesn't matter what you're facing, what your situation is. Each one of us have different situations. Don't doubt that God can bring you through it. Doubt has no place in our vocabulary. Doubt is something that the devil has devised to cause you to turn back or to stop or not to fulfill the purpose that God has ordained for you on this earth. So again, I ask, any questions, anybody? Any comments? Are we good? I like feedback sometimes. I like to know. Are we okay? Are we there?
Yeah, Doc, they're saying that they're good. All right,
Okay.
they're understanding.
Okay.
Yeah.
And listen, folks, I want to say this. We've said it before and I'm going to say it again. Don't go away saying, hey, that was good. That sounded good. Whenever you leave, whenever God speaks, you ask God, God, what are you saying to me? Not what you're saying to Brother Beams or Brother Dylan or Sister Jolene. I just call the names like my wife now. God, what are you saying to me? If I hear this tonight, God, it's because there's something there that I need to take a hold of. Maybe God, I'm doubting you. Maybe the reason why I'm still where I'm at is because I doubt that you can use me. We look at people and we say, oh, they have talent, they could sing, they could preach, they could do this. What about you? Why are you doubting yourself? Don't compare yourself with anybody. Compare yourself with yourself. and know what God has called you to do. Amen. All right, so if there are no questions, I'm going to close off for tonight. I want to thank you so much for listening. Thank you for being here. We're going to continue tomorrow. And there's so much that I want to share with you. I'm not sure we're going to be able to finish all before the end of the year. And do you know we started this sometime in February? I was looking back at my notes sometime in February this year, and we're still going. God is speaking. God is speaking. Amen. God bless you. I love you. And I'm handing back over to Minister Joshua.
And Doc, I want to come in just tonight to just make some announcements. How many of you are really happy? Are you all practicing your dance? Are you practicing the dance? Are we